How my alpha husband took his revenge after finding out about my minor infidelity. After a harrowing night in Munich, my friend Mark and I spent the day exploring the city's beautiful architecture and rich history. The distraction helped me temporarily forget the chaos back home. Mark listened patiently as I poured out my heart, detailing the betrayal and anguish that had overtaken my life. His support was a balm, though I knew that returning home meant facing the storm I had left behind. Back in the city, my mind was a whirlwind of anxiety and dread. I spent the day in Munich trying to immerse myself in the culture, but my thoughts kept drifting back to the consequences of my action. Mark reassured me that confronting the situation was the only way forward. I knew he was right. The pain of realizing how deeply I had hurt Degan made the prospect of returning home unbearable. By the time I landed back in the city, the burden of what I had done felt heavier than ever. The drive back to our home was marked by a tense silence. I dreaded the confrontation that awaited me. How would Degan react? Would he be willing to listen, or would he dismiss me outright? When I arrived home, the house felt eerily quiet. Degan was not there. I tried to calm myself and decided to wait for his return. The hours ticked by slowly as I paced the living room, trying to prepare myself for whatever would come next. My phone buzzed with notifications from work and friends, but I ignored them, unable to focus on anything other than my crumbling marriage. Finally, around midnight, I heard the sound of the front door opening. Degan walked in, his face expressionless. He looked at me with a mixture of sadness and anger. I took a deep breath and approached him, my heart pounding in my chest. "Degan, we need to talk," I said, my voice trembling. He nodded, leading me to the living room where we both took a seat. I could see the hurt in his eyes, and it broke my heart. He was the kind of man who deserved loyalty and respect, and I had failed him in the worst way. "I've been waiting for you to come back," I began, my voice barely above a whisper. "I know I've made a terrible mistake, and I'm ready to face the consequence." Degan looked at me with a steely gaze. "I'm listening," he said quietly, but his tone held an edge. I recounted the events of the business trip in detail, not sparing myself from the harsh truths of what had happened. I told him about Percy, and how we had let our guard down, indulging in our desires despite knowing it was wrong. As I spoke, Degan's expression shifted from anger to a pained resignation. He remained silent throughout, only nodding occasionally. When I finished, there was a long pause. Degan looked at me, his face a mask of controlled emotion. "I needed to hear the truth," he said finally, "but knowing what happened doesn't make it any easier to process." I nodded, tears streaming down my face. "I understand. I'm so sorry, Degan. I've been consumed by guilt and regret. I know that what I did was unforgivable, but I want to make things right. I love you, and I don't want to lose you." Degan took a deep breath, his gaze distant. "I need time to think," he said quietly. "This isn't something I can just move past. I need to decide what's best for both of us." I nodded, feeling a mix of relief and fear. At least he was willing to talk, but the uncertainty of his decision was agonizing. We spent the rest of the night in silence, each lost in our thoughts. The following days were a blur of tension and waiting. Degan remained distant, focusing on his work and avoiding deep conversations. I tried to respect his space while still showing him that I was committed to making amends. I did everything I could to demonstrate my love and remorse, but the gap between us seemed to widen with each passing day. One evening, Degan finally approached me with a decision. "I've been thinking a lot," he began, his voice steady but serious. "I've decided that we need to take a break. I need time to process everything and decide if we have a future together." I felt a pang of panic, tried to stay calm. "How long will this break be?" I asked, struggling to keep my voice steady. "As long as it takes," Degan replied. "I don't know how long it will be, but I need to be sure that I can forgive you and that we can rebuild what we've lost." I nodded, understanding the need for space. "I respect that," I said. "Just hope that, in time, and find a way to move forward." Degan gave me a sad smile and left the house. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. I spent most of my time reflecting on my actions, seeking counseling to understand why I had betrayed Degan, and trying to find a way to make peace with myself. The guilt was overwhelming. and I struggled with the emptiness left by Deegan's absence. During this period, I also focused on rebuilding my own life. I began taking better care of myself, both physically and emotionally. I reached out to friends and family for support and slowly started to reclaim some sense of normalcy. Despite my efforts, the loneliness of living without Deegan was a constant reminder of what I had lost. Weeks turned into months, and the uncertainty of our future weighed heavily on me. I held on to a glimmer of hope that Deegan might eventually find it in his heart to forgive me. Each day, I tried to be patient and give him the space he needed, all while grappling with my own feelings of regret and sorrow. One day, Deegan surprised me by reaching out. He asked if we could meet at a cafe to talk. My heart raced with a mix of hope and anxiety as I prepared for our meeting. When I saw him, he looked more relaxed, but there was still a sense of gravity in his demeanor. We sat down at a small table, and Deegan began speaking. "I've had a lot of time to think," he said, "and I've come to realize that, while what happened was devastating, it's also given me a clearer understanding of what I want for the future. I've decided that I'm willing to work on our relationship, but it will require effort from both of us." I listened, my heart pounding with hope. "I'm willing to do whatever it takes," I said earnestly. "I want to rebuild our trust and make things right between us." Deegan nodded. "I appreciate your willingness. Won't be easy, and there will be challenges, but I believe it's worth trying if we're both committed." We agreed to start with couples therapy and work on rebuilding our relationship from the ground up. It was a long and difficult process, but over time, we began to see progress. The road to recovery was filled with ups and downs, but both of us were determined to overcome the obstacles and heal together. Our journey was not without its struggles, but as time went on, we found that our love for each other was stronger than the pain we had endured. It was a testament to the resilience of our relationship and our commitment to making it work. Through perseverance and understanding, we slowly began to rebuild the trust that had been shattered. In the end, Deegan's decision to give our relationship another chance proved to be a turning point for both of us. We emerged from the ordeal with a renewed sense of appreciation for each other and a deeper understanding of the importance of trust and communication in our marriage. As we continued to work through our challenges, I realized that the journey of rebuilding our relationship had taught me valuable lessons about love, forgiveness, and the strength of the human spirit. Despite the pain and heartache, I felt a sense of hope and determination as we moved forward together. And so, as we navigated the complexities of our renewed relationship, I knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but it was one we were prepared to travel together. Our love had been tested, but it had also grown stronger in the face of adversity. As the months passed, Deegan and I continued our journey of rebuilding our relationship. The process was far from easy, and there were times when the weight of our past seemed almost unbearable. But through the pain and struggle, we both remained committed to healing and moving forward. Our sessions with the couples therapist became a regular part of our lives. At first, the sessions were intense, filled with raw emotions and difficult conversations. We delved into the reasons behind my betrayal, exploring the underlying issues that had led me to make such a grievous mistake. It was uncomfortable and often heartbreaking. But it was also necessary for us to understand each other better and to address the issues that had been festering beneath the surface. One of the most challenging aspects of therapy was learning to communicate effectively. Our arguments had often been fueled by misunderstandings and hurt feelings, and we had to work hard to develop healthier ways of expressing our emotion. This meant learning to listen to each other without judgment, to express our needs and concerns openly, and to confront difficult topics with honesty and empathy. As we progressed through therapy, we also began to spend more quality time together. We started rediscovering the things we loved about each other and the experiences that had initially drawn us together. We went on weekend trips, explored new hobbies, and made a conscious effort to connect on a deeper level. It wasn't always smooth sailing. There were moments when old wounds were reopened and disagreements flared up. But through it all, we found solace in the fact that we were working through our issues together. One day, Dagon surprised me with a romantic gesture. He had planned a weekend getaway to a cozy cabin in the countryside, a place where we could escape the stress of our everyday lives and focus on reconnecting. As we drove to the cabin, I felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. This trip was an opportunity for us to take a step back from the therapeutic process and simply enjoy each other's company. The cabin was nestled in a beautiful forested area, far from the hustle and bustle of the city. It was quaint and charming, with a fireplace that crackled softly and a large window that offered a stunning view of the surrounding woods. We spent our days hiking, cooking meals together, and talking late into the night. The serenity of the setting provided a much-needed respite from our usual routine, and it allowed us to focus on the positive aspects of our relationship. During one of our hikes, as we walked hand in hand along a winding trail, Dagon turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "You know," he said, "this trip has been really good for us. It's reminded me of why I fell in love with you in the first place." I looked at him, feeling a rush of warmth and gratitude. "I feel the same way," I admitted. "Being here with you, away from everything, has helped me remember the beauty of our relationship and the reasons we want to make it work." Dagon nodded, a smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "I'm glad. I think we're making progress, even if it's slow. We're learning to understand each other better and to appreciate the little things that make our relationship special." The weekend was a turning point for us. It gave us a chance to reconnect on a deeper level and to reaffirm our commitment to each other. When we returned home, we felt renewed and optimistic about the future. Back in our daily lives, we continued to face challenges, but we approached them with a newfound sense of resilience. Our relationship was still a work in progress, but we were determined to build a stronger foundation for the future. We made an effort to celebrate our successes, no matter how small, and to acknowledge the progress we had made. One evening, as we sat together on the couch, I reflected on how far we had come. "You know," I said, "I think we're in a much better place now than we were before all of this happened." Egan looked at me, his expression softening. "I agree. It hasn't been easy, but I think we've learned a lot about ourselves and each other. Our relationship is stronger because of it." I smiled, feeling a sense of contentment. "I'm grateful for your willingness to work through this with me. It means more than I can express." Dagon reached out and took my hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. "I'm grateful too. We've faced a lot together, and I believe we can overcome anything as long as we keep working at it." As time went on, our relationship continued to grow and evolve. We faced new challenges and celebrated new milestones, but through it all, we remained committed to each other and to the process of rebuilding our trust. It wasn't always easy, and there were moments when the past threatened to resurface. But we faced those moments with determination and a shared sense of purpose. One day, as we sat together reflecting on our journey, Dagon took my hand in his and looked into my eyes with a sense of resolve. "I want us to move forward with hope and optimism," he said. "I believe in us, and I believe that we can create a future together that's even better than before." I nodded, feeling a surge of hope and love. "I believe in us too. We've come so far, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for us." With that, we embraced, knowing that our journey was far from over, but feeling confident we were on the right path. Our relationship had been tested, but it had also been strengthened by the challenges we had faced. As we looked to the future, we did so with a renewed sense of hope and a deep appreciation for the love that had carried us through the storm. And so, as we continued our journey together, we did so with the understanding that true love is not just about the happy moments, but also about the commitment to weather the storms and emerge stronger on the other side. Our story was far from perfect, but it was ours, and we were determined to make the most of it. As the seasons changed, so did our relationship. The journey we had undertaken together, though challenging, was gradually leading us toward a stronger, more meaningful connection. Dagon and I were learning to navigate the complexities of our renewed bond, and we were both committed to making it work. One crisp autumn afternoon, we found ourselves walking through a local park, the ground covered with a colorful blanket of fallen leaves. The air was cool and invigorating, and the vibrant hues of red, orange, and gold seemed to mirror the renewed warmth between us. It was during these simple moments, away from the noise of our everyday lives, that I felt our relationship growing deeper. We had recently celebrated our 1-year mark. Since the beginning of our therapy journey, it was a milestone that felt both significant and symbolic. To commemorate it, Dagon and I decided to revisit some of the places that had been meaningful to us over the years. Park was one such place, a spot where we had spent many afternoons talking and dreaming together before everything had changed. As we strolled along the winding path, Dagon broke the comfortable silence. "Do you remember when we used to come here just to talk about our future?" he asked, his voice tinged with nostalgia. I smiled, recalling those carefree days. "I do. Feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?" Dagon nodded, squeezing my hand gently. "It does. But it's nice to be here again, walking these paths with you. It's like we're reconnecting with a part of ourselves that we had lost." His words resonated with me, and I felt a sense of peace. I agree. It's moments like these that remind me of why we're doing this. It's not just about fixing what went wrong, but about rediscovering what's right. We continued our walk, occasionally stopping to admire the beauty around us. At one point, we found a quiet bench beneath a large oak tree, its branches stretching out in a protective embrace. We sat down. I leaned my head on Dagon's shoulder, feeling a deep sense of contentment. As we sat in silence, I thought about the journey we had been on. It hadn't been easy. There had been setbacks and challenges, moments of doubt and frustration. But there had also been growth, healing, and a renewed sense of connection. Our relationship was far from perfect, but it was ours, and it was stronger for having weathered the storm. Dagon broke the silence once more. "I've been thinking a lot about our future," he said. "About what we want to build together. I know we've talked about it before, but I feel like it's important to revisit those dreams and see where we stand now." I turned to look at him, seeing the earnestness in his eyes. "I think that's a great idea. We've made so much progress, and it's important to keep envisioning what we want for our lives together." Dagon nodded, and we began discussing our hopes and aspirations. We talked about the dreams we had once shared and how they had evolved over time. We spoke of the places we wanted to travel, the goals we wanted to achieve, and the life we hoped to build together. It was a conversation filled with optimism and excitement, a testament to the progress we had made. As we spoke, I felt a renewed sense of hope and possibility. The challenges we had faced had shaped us, but they had also given us a stronger foundation upon which to build our future. It was clear that despite the difficulty, our love and commitment had grown deeper, more resilient. A few weeks later, we decided to take a significant step forward in our journey together. We had been discussing the idea of moving in together, something that had always been on the horizon, but had seemed daunting due to our recent struggles. After much deliberation and heart-to-heart conversations, we felt ready to take that leap. The process of finding a new home was both exciting and overwhelming. We spent weekends exploring neighborhoods, visiting potential apartments, and discussing what we wanted in our future space. It was a collaborative effort, and I enjoyed seeing how our tastes and preferences aligned. We were creating a vision for our home that reflected our shared values and dreams. One Saturday afternoon, as we toured a charming apartment in a historic building, I could sense Dagon's enthusiasm. The space had high ceilings, large windows, and a cozy atmosphere that immediately felt inviting. As we walked through the rooms, we discussed how we would arrange our furniture and personalize the space to make it truly ours. "This place feels right," Dagon said, looking around with a thoughtful expression. "I can see us building a life here." I smiled, feeling a surge of excitement. I agree. It has a warmth to it that makes me think of the future we've been working towards. After some negotiation and paperwork, we signed the lease and began the process of moving in. It was a whirlwind of packing boxes, arranging movers, and setting up our new home. Despite the chaos, there was a sense of joy and anticipation in the air. We were creating a new chapter in our lives, and it felt both exhilarating and meaningful. The day we moved in, we took a moment to sit together in the empty living room, surrounded by piles of boxes and the echoes of our excitement. Degan looked at me with a mixture of pride and relief. "We did it," he said. "We've taken a big step forward." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "Yes, we have, and it's a testament to how far we've come. We've worked hard to get here, and I'm so proud of us." As we unpacked and settled into our new home, we made a conscious effort to infuse it with our shared experiences and memories. We placed photographs from our travels, framed artwork that held sentimental value, and little touches that reflected our personality. Each item we chose was a reminder of our journey together and a symbol of our commitment to building a future. The process of settling into our new home brought us even closer. We spent evenings cooking meals together, organizing our belongings, and creating a space that felt uniquely ours. It was in these everyday moments that I felt the strength of our relationship, the way we supported each other, laughed together, and found joy in the simple pleasures of life. One evening, as we sat on our cozy couch surrounded by the warmth of our new home, I reflected on how far we had come. The journey we had undertaken was far from easy, but it had led us to a place of renewed love and understanding. We had faced our challenges head-on, and through it all, we had emerged stronger and more connected. Degan turned to me, a contented smile on his face. "You know, I wouldn't have wanted to go through this journey with anyone else. It's been tough, but it's made us stronger." I took his hand in mine, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "I feel the same way. We've faced so much together, and it's only made our bond stronger. I'm grateful for the love and commitment we've shared." As we sat there, basking in the comfort of our new home and the strength of our relationship, I knew that the future held endless possibility. We had faced our struggles, celebrated our victories, and learned to appreciate the beauty of our journey together. Our love was not defined by the challenges we had faced, but by our commitment to overcoming them and building a future filled with hope and joy. In the days and months that followed, we continued to nurture our relationship and embrace the new chapter of our lives. We faced new challenges with the same resilience and dedication that had brought us this far. Our home became a place of solace and happiness, a reflection of the love and growth we had experienced. Together, we looked forward to the future with optimism and excitement. Our journey had taught us the value of perseverance, the strength of our bond, and the beauty of rebuilding a relationship with love and commitment. As we continued to create new memories and build a life together, we did so with a deep appreciation for the journey that had brought us to this point. And so our story continued, a story of love, growth, and resilience. It was a testament to the power of facing challenges together and emerging stronger on the other side. Our future was bright, filled with promise and potential, and we were ready to embrace it with open hearts and unwavering commitment. As the months passed in our new home, life settled into a comfortable rhythm. The daily routines we established became the foundation of our new chapter. The apartment, once a blank canvas, was now filled with the warmth and personality we had infused into it. Our shared space had become a haven, a place where we could both feel truly at home. One evening, as I was preparing dinner, Degan walked in with a thoughtful expression. He had been working on a project at the community center, and his demeanor suggested something was on his mind. "Hey," I said, glancing up from the stove. "How was your day?" "It was good," Degan replied, but his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. "I wanted to talk to you about something." I turned off the stove and gave him my full attention. "What's up?" Degan took a deep breath. "I've been thinking a lot about us and our future. You know how we've been talking about expanding our family? I think I'm ready to take that step." The words took me by surprise. My heart raced with excitement and a touch of apprehension. We had discussed the idea of having children in the past, but it had always been a distant dream, overshadowed by our immediate challenges. "Are you sure?" I asked, my voice tinged with both hope and caution. "I mean, this is a big step." Degan nodded. "I am sure. I've been reflecting on how far we've come and how strong we've become together. I think we're in a good place to start this new chapter." His words resonated deeply with me. The thought of expanding our family had always been a cherished dream, but it felt more real and achievable now. I could see the sincerity in Degan's eyes, and I felt a surge of optimism. "I'm ready too," I said, my voice filled with emotion. Let's do this. Let's take this step together. With that, we began the journey of planning for the future we had always envisioned. It was a process filled with both excitement and anticipation. We started by researching and preparing ourselves for the challenges and joys of parenthood. We attended classes, read books, and reached out to friends who had already embarked on this journey. The process of preparing for a new life also meant making adjustments to our current one. We began to think about how we would rearrange our space to accommodate a growing family, and what changes we would need to make to ensure we were ready for the responsibilities that lay ahead. Every decision we made was a reflection of our commitment to each other and our future child. One sunny afternoon, as we were shopping for baby items, we came across a small store that specialized in unique and handcrafted items for children. The store was filled with colorful toys, cozy blankets, and charming clothes. As we wandered through the aisles, we couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder and excitement. Deegan picked up a soft, hand-knitted blanket and smiled. I can imagine our little one wrapped up in this. I took the blanket from him, feeling its warmth and softness. Perfect. Feels like a little piece of home already. We spent the afternoon choosing items that felt meaningful to us. Each purchase a symbol of our hopes and dreams. It was a joyful experience, and as we left the store, we both felt a renewed sense of purpose and anticipation. Months later, we found ourselves in a new phase of our lives, preparing for the arrival of our baby. The changes were significant, but they were met with enthusiasm and love. Our apartment, now filled with baby gear and decorations, had transformed into a welcoming space for our growing family. One evening, as we sat together in our nursery, we took a moment to reflect on our journey. The room was softly lit, and the gentle hum of a lullaby played in the background. We had spent countless hours preparing this space, and it felt like a reflection of the love and care we had put into our relationship. Deegan looked at me with a mixture of awe and gratitude. It's incredible to think about how far we've come. It feels like we're starting a new chapter, one that's been a long time coming. I nodded, feeling a profound sense of contentment. It does. Our journey hasn't always been easy, but it's led us to this beautiful moment. I'm so grateful for everything we've experienced and for the future we're building together. Our conversation was interrupted by the soft kick of our baby, a reminder of the new life we were about to welcome into the world. We shared a smile, knowing that this new chapter would bring its own set of challenges and joys. The day finally arrived when we welcomed our baby into the world. It was a moment of pure, indescribable joy. Holding our child for the first time, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment and wonder. It was as if all the trials and triumphs of our journey had led us to this precious moment. Deegan and I looked at each other, our hearts overflowing with love and gratitude. We knew that our lives had changed forever, but we also knew that we were ready for this new adventure. Together, we had built a strong foundation, and now we were ready to embrace the future with our growing family. As we settled into our new roles as parents, we continued to nurture our relationship and cherish the moments we had together. The challenges of parenthood were met with the same resilience and love that had brought us this far. Our family was a testament to the strength of our bond and the power of our commitment to each other. In the years that followed, we watched our child grow and thrive, and our family continued to be a source of joy and fulfillment. We remained grateful for the journey that had brought us to this point, and we looked forward to the future with hope and optimism. Our story was one of love, growth, and resilience. It was a testament to the power of facing challenges together and emerging stronger on the other side. As we continued to build our life together, we did so with a deep appreciation for the journey that had shaped us and the future that lay ahead. And so our story continued. A story of love and commitment, dreams realized and new beginnings. It was a story that would continue to unfold with each passing day, filled with the promise of a future built on the foundation of our shared experiences and unwavering love.